says one person. It's a girls' game, says another.
Yeah, to which I say, actually, it's a good point. Because girls, more females play football than just about any other sport. It's growing at 6% a year in this country. So from a technical angle, actually, well done. He is right.
Yeah.
It is a girls' game. It's just that it's also a game for Messi, Kaká, Ronaldo, and some of the greatest sports people in the world.
Hey, you're a fan of The Matrix.
Yeah, I love it.
Why?
I love it. Oh, I just think it's a great movie. I like that. I like the concept of the world being a computer-generated sort of virtual world and people walking around. But I love the concept that if you tap into the Matrix itself, you can see the code. And it's something in the book that I relate to football.
Yeah.
And it's very true. In essence, football, what Australia has to understand is that football has a tactical sophistication that no other game here has. For instance, the tactical evolution of AFL, for instance, in the last decade is in terms of zonal play and pressing. These are concepts which were in football in the late 50s, early 60s. So football is 50 years ahead of AFL tactically. There's tremendous depth to football, and Australia's just coming to terms with this. And this includes me. We're all learning. So what I've done in the book is said that there's a code to football which most fans can't see. They see the game superficially.
It's the 3D magic eye picture, that type of vibe, right?
Correct. And if you watch the numbers, watch the movements, and watch the entirety, you can get a far greater picture. And in one of the chapters in the book, I give them a number of questions, and I try to give the reader a sense of how we break the code at SBS.
Let's move on to what I think is probably on a lot of people's minds. The World Cup in South Africa starts on June 11th. Australia in a group with Ghana, Serbia and Germany. I looked at that and I thought that's going to be really tough. What do you think?
It is very tough. I think it's tougher than 2006, but that's not to say that the boys aren't going to emulate what they did or even go beyond. Anything's possible with this group of players. They're coming in not in fantastic condition. You know, Craig Moore in defence is now up in Brisbane just trying to keep fit. But he's a great professional and he's a marvellous footballer. Harry Kewell has just got back onto the pitch. That's very important for us. And Timmy Cahill's in great form. Of course, Mark Schwartz's recent form, going to the Europa League final with Fulham, is very important for us because he really saved us during qualifying. These guys can get out of the group stage because, firstly, they're great Australian sporting champions. And secondly, because of their experience. To walk out in your second consecutive World Cup, I would imagine, and I know from speaking to the boys, that's a hell of a lot different from walking out in your first. They know what to expect. They know how to play the game. The problem for us is up against Germany first. You know, the pedigree of that nation is phenomenal. 7 finals for 3 wins, and they always get out of the group. So if we take something off Germany in the first game, what we want to hope is that they then beat the other 2. We're already ahead of the game. Now it comes down to us between us and Serbia and Ghana. But whatever happens, VJ, it's going to be a marvellous ride.
Yeah, absolutely. And who do you think's going to win? I mean, let's talk the whole world and who you think's strong, who you think can win the World Cup this year.
Well, the 2 favourites are Brazil and Spain. Brazil are probably firmed in favouritism last week because Fernando Torres just had a knee injury, and Xavi from Barcelona, who was the player of the tournament in the European Championship. And if you remember in the final against Germany, Xavi made the pass for Torres to score. So those 2 are extremely important in the big moment. They're both injured. Xavi may miss the World Cup. To me, that reduces Spain's chances by 20%, and I love their football. I'd love to see Spain win because I'd like to see an 8th winner. I think it's time. France in 98 was the last one. Now it's time for a new winner as well.
It's funny, isn't it? It's been, the World Cup's been going for almost 80 years, and there have only been 7 winners.
That's right. 18 tournaments, this is the 19th. It shows you the difficulty in level. And again, I go back to the book here and I say, look, this is the last great sporting frontier for Australia. And we have to be mature enough to say, look, we win the Rugby League World Cup. Let's be honest, no one really plays it. Okay, we win the Rugby Union World Cup. There is a bunch of countries. Football is played by 208. It's comfortably the biggest by a huge margin. This is the toughest sporting contest we are ever going to try and win, and it is the one we must win in this century in order to prove ourselves the best sporting nation on earth. And we cannot claim that title until we win the FIFA World Cup. But it's our biggest challenge. The country has to get behind it and say, listen, we've won all these other things that most of the world truly doesn't care about. Let's go and win the FIFA World Cup.
Craig Foster, I could talk to you all day, sir, about football. The book is great. It's called Foz on Football. And, hey, we're really going to enjoy seeing you and everyone else on SBS covering the World Cup this year. And yeah, good luck in South Africa, and thanks for
very
coming
much.
in.
Thanks, PJ.
Cheers. This is